Hey, Jody here. I wanted to do this brief video around supplements, specifically what I'm currently taking, how much and why, etc., in hopes of helping you sort of optimize or get to a better place in hopes of helping you when it comes to supplements. I take a lot of stuff. It doesn't mean that you need to take the amount of vitamins and minerals that I take. Sometimes just getting started is better than doing nothing. It's probably worthy of noting that and you may have heard me say this if you looked at the Supplements 101 or 202 or 303, which are prior videos that I've done with a good buddy of mine, James Knapp. We talk about the first three that we would recommend, and then the second video we go the next three and the next three. But all that to say that we don't just recommend sort of willy-nilly going and choosing vitamins based on whatever you think or whatever someone tells you. What I really like to see is choosing vitamins based on qualitative, which is subjective, of course, but it's how I feel, how's my energy, how's my sleep, how's my mood, how's my 2 p.m., 3 p.m. sort of energy, qualitative data, but also especially like quantitative data. Quantitative being lab work. Blood pressure is an easy one. It's an easy result, quantifiable number. Oura Ring or fitness tracking devices. You guys have heard me talk about this. It tracks my deep sleep, my REM. My HRV, which is a sign of recovery, heart rate variability. So using quantitative data and qualitative, I go out and select the certain vitamins that I think I need, working with healthcare provider, etc., and then I tweak and adjust as needed. So not everybody needs everything. First and maybe foremost is a good multivitamin and mineral. I like a multivitamin, of course, for the vitamins. A little bit of C in there, not a whole lot, probably not enough to really make a big difference, but it's going to meet the RDA. But a good multi is going to have vitamin A. It's going to have all sorts of B vitamin comes to mind, especially the B complex. By the way, I don't take a special B vitamin because this brand, Life Extension, has it in there. You've heard me talk. If you've seen any of my other videos before, you know that I like Life Extension. I like it because of the value. Value being quality, which is fantastic, versus price, which is also good. So that's what I'm referring to with value and why I like Life Extension. All right, so what I really like about a multivitamin and mineral is the multi-mineral. Minerals such as boron, chromium, selenium, manganese, all things that are good for me, good for us, good for you, good for us, but we're not necessarily getting in our diet for various reasons. Soil's being depleted or whatever it may be. All right, so that's the 2 per day multivitamin and mineral. Fish oil, that's the second. Pretty much everybody has heard of fish oil. Most of you probably already taking this. I'm a big fan of fish oil. I personally take 2 grams in the AM and 2 grams in the PM. If that's a lot for you, you might want to start with 2 grams just throughout the day. Sort of 1 and 1, or all at in the AM or PM. Either would be fine. But I like a good omega-3 / fish oil supplement. I like it from a quantitative standpoint, looking at lab work, looking at my data. I like it for what it does for my triglycerides, my good cholesterol, my bad cholesterol, but I really like it for the blood thinning effect it has on me as well. I've actually had the opportunity to work with a nutritionist back in Houston years ago. I've looked at my blood underneath the microscope off the streets, and then I stepped back and I properly hydrated. I probably wasn't properly hydrated when I walked in to see this guy. I drank some water and I took some fish oil, came back sometime later, looked at my blood again underneath the microscope, night and day. The mobility, the way that it was moving around was just incredible. So omega-3 does have a mild blood thinning effect. Don't trust me, go look that up and you'll see it for yourself. I really liked it. So I take it daily, but I also never forget to take it if I'm going to go donate blood. I'm going to hydrate properly, very well actually, and take that fish oil, and it goes by so fast, which is quite nice. So I like a good fish oil. I love it for brain health, cardiovascular health. It's good for mood, blood thinning, as I mentioned, etc. Mild blood thinning. D3. I know everyone here has heard of D3. And by the way, I always take D3 with the K2 specifically. This is actually K complex, so it's got the K2 plus the other Ks in it. I'm a big fan of D3. We're just not getting enough good sunshine. 20 minutes is the recommended amount on your entire body, or as much of your body as one can get. I do a decent job, but it's not daily. And then of course we have fall, we have winter, where I'm not getting out in the sun and couldn't get enough from the sun anyway. even if I were purposeful about it. But so the bottom line is I take D3. I don't just go blindly take a certain amount. I do take 5,000 IUs per day during the summertime. But the point is I'm testing that via a test. It's called 25OH. It's basically the vitamin D test that you can get at pretty much any lab. DiscountedLabs.com has it. I think it's $62 last I checked. And I recommend people get that test once a year, more if you're working on your vitamin D to try to get your levels up, your blood levels. So I currently take 5,000 of this daily. I will take 10,000 in the fall and in the winter. Always take it with a good K, K2 specifically. This is a K complex. And why the K with the D? Because they both act, they both have a role to play with calcium absorption, and the K helps keep that calcium in the bones and the teeth where I want it, as opposed to in the arteries. I also take and recommend that folks take vitamin D with their fish oil. It doesn't have to be with fish oil. There's nothing magic about that, but D is fat soluble, so D likes to be consumed at the same time as a fat source. And so, you know, take it with a meal. That's a good practice, but also it's a good time to take it to take your vitamin, your fish oil, to help with absorption. So if you're taking it currently and you're not properly absorbing, it could be the brand, but it also could be lack of taking it with a fat source. All right, next up is DHEA. This is technically not a vitamin, although it's sold in vitamin shops, and that's a good thing. It's technically a hormone. I currently take 50 milligrams in the AM every single day. I take DHEA because the brain likes it, the adrenal glands really like it, and most importantly, through my lab testing, my lab work, my body likes 50 milligrams. It's where I stay in the optimal range. I don't want to be normal, I want to be optimal, right? So that's DHEA. I take one more hormone called Pregnenolone, also 50 milligrams. Again, just like DHEA, the only way to really know is lab work. Don't just go take this Pregnenolone or DHEA off the shelf, guessing at the amount. It can have a cascading effect and affect, these are both master hormones, so they can affect other hormones like testosterone, estradiol, etc. So it's good to not guess. It's good to get the lab work done, work with a good healthcare provider in order to determine the proper amount. But anyway, I take Pregnenolone 50 milligrams every evening. It's good for mood, it's good for rest, it's good for anxiety or having less anxiety. It's good for the adrenals, Pregnenolone. Another one most everybody has heard of, and a lot of you probably take this, which is a good thing, magnesium. This particular magnesium is in the form of glycinate. There are others out there. Threonate, I think, is one, or I know is one, if I'm saying that right. Citrate's another. I do perfectly fine on citrate at 400 milligrams. It does not upset my stomach. For me, it's fine. You know, if I go higher, then I'm probably going to get a little bit of intolerance. But 400 milligrams, no problem. This glycinate is 425, which is exactly, it's 2 caps, and I take this at night. Magnesium is great for men and women for a host of things, including testosterone levels, by the way, especially when I'm thinking men. But it's good for relaxation, it's good for rest, it improves sleep, it helps my sleep, I know, it's good for mood, it's good for energy. A lot of people get really high calcium, but they're not getting enough magnesium, and so really what you want to do is sort of see that balanced. I do take a calcium, but it's a little different. This particular calcium you can't see because there's a label in the way. Excuse me, there's a label in the way. But it's called calcium D-glucarate, and I'm taking this for proper management of estrogen, specifically estradiol. So the concept is that a lot of the estrogen is metabolized via the liver, and this helps to sort of cleanse the liver and therefore to reduce the amount of estrogen in the body. I can't prove that this works via quantitative data, aka blood test, although I will say my estradiol is exactly where I want it to be, not too high, not too low, like any hormone. But I can't say that this is actually what's allowed me to be optimal. I do sort of subjectively think that this works in keeping you under control. I just haven't proven that via blood test yet. But anyway, so I take 500 milligrams each night of this calcium D-gluc with magnesium because I don't want my calcium to be too high. From time to time, I will take NAC. I think there's a couple of organs that, just living in America or the world today, there's a couple of organs that really take a hit. The liver and the adrenal glands. And so anytime we can give these things any sort of love, attention, affection, whether that, some sort of fasting, which I don't do, I just don't care for it, avoidance of food, etc. Or at least I don't do it a whole lot. Using herbs to sort of help the adrenal glands, reducing stress, caffeine, etc. Anyway, NAC can actually help the liver to do what it needs to do, to function and perform better. So I'm a big fan. I take 600 milligrams of this NAC in the AM and the PM. I don't do this all the time. It's from time to time. Just like adrenals, I'll go give the liver some support from time to time, but not all the time. It's not a staple. Another one is Iodine, and so I would check with a healthcare professional with all of this stuff, but especially Iodine, because it's a very concentrated form of iodine. And what's going on with iodine is most of us are just not getting enough. The thyroid needs iodine. It's essential for proper function of the thyroid. When I look at what's going on, at least men, I work with a lot of men, I don't see a whole lot of thyroid issues. A lot of times it's testosterone. We go correct that testosterone, and the thyroid will sometimes take care of itself, especially if we can get the man's sleep back on track, limit the blue light, etc. Women tend to have more issues around thyroid, and one of the first questions that ought to be asked is, how's your iodine consumption? For example, are you salting your food? I personally salt my food pretty much every meal. We tend to have forgotten somewhere in the messaging of so-called healthcare that sodium / salt it's essential for performance. It's good for energy. It's good for muscle contraction. It's just needed. Now, it's not needed if you're sensitive to salt or highly sensitive to salt, if you're eating McDonald's 4 times a day. But for the rest of us, or at least for me, I actually add table salt to my food. Blood pressure, it's fantastic. Because my potassium's where it needs to be, my calcium, my magnesium, these are sort of minerals that control blood pressure. So again, it's all about balance. Anyway, one of the good things about me using table salt to supplement as an additive to my food is it contains iodine. If you don't want to do that, that's cool. I also supplement with this Iodine. It's very concentrated, so I literally just take a pinch off a couple of times a week. But that is very subjective, and there's probably a better way for you, which could be the form of taking kelp, K-E-L-P, and then you're very exact as to the amount you're taking. It's a low dose, and to me that just makes sense to give the thyroid one of the essential nutrients that it needs. Why thyroid? That's your thermostat, right? That's determining how much energy you have, how well efficiently your metabolism is running, etc. All right. I just showed you what I think is 10 vitamins. It's a lot. If it's too much for you, don't worry about it. You don't have to start with 10. You don't need to. I did a supplement series with James Knapp, Supplements 101, 202, 303. And 101, we both talk about our top 3 supplements for any man or woman out there. In 202, we talk about our next 3 if a person wants to do more, step up the game. In 303, we talk about the next 3. So we kind of build up to 9-ish vitamins, which is about what you see me taking here. So I hope this helps. If you like what you see, please like and subscribe. If you want more info or you want to work directly with me, ping me, get in touch with me. I'm happy to chat to see if I can help you or send you to the right healthcare provider that can get you lined out. So that's currently what I take. I appreciate it. Have a good day.